What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Combat Corner Top 5s. This week, we have our top 5 UFC knockouts of all time. I will be going first, and we'll get right into it. At number 5, we have Edson Barboza versus Terry Etim. The spinning wheel kick knockout, the first one in the UFC history. And this knockout was only made even better by Joe Rogan saying, someone's going to risk getting knocked out right as it happened. That was just fucking cool.
That is a great highlight.
That is awesome. I'm just gonna move those. Anyway, that's my number 5. It's a ridiculous knockout, absolutely perfect, pristine technique, and just puts Terry Etim out cold. And Terry never really came back from that knockout, and Edson went on to become, pretty good contender. Edson is known for his kicks, Number 4 on my list, we have Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren. Kind of has to be on there. That knee is the quickest knockout of all time. Absolutely insane. Watching that live, we've got it up here, a picture of it. The record breaker, 6 seconds in. Masvidal knew exactly what Ben Askren was going to do. Askren runs up to him, saw that that Masvidal was running quickly at him, went for the crotch, got kneed into oblivion. Done. And Masvidal walked away a star after that knockout, and it went viral. And it was just insane. That's an insane knockout. It's a record-breaking knockout, so it's got to be on the list. Absolutely epic. Next up, we've got Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. I hated watching this fight, but you can't deny that knockout was one of the most insane things to watch, especially in slow motion.
Yeah,
or the freeze frame. Just seeing Chandler, because Chandler's so fucking ripped. And you just see his leg, like all the fucking muscles in his leg just like power right into Ferguson's chin. And Ferguson's face just like melted for like 10 seconds. Ferguson was out for a good 4 or 5 minutes. Ferguson was doing well in this fight too. And Chandler just came out with this absolutely insane up kick to the chin. Ridiculous. You don't see that very often at all. And Michael Chandler, he managed to land that. And that was just insane. Again, I'm a big Ferguson fan, didn't like the knockout at the time, but you can't deny that it's so impressive. Next up, onto the big boys, the big 2. Francis Ngannou versus Alistair Overeem. I mean, it speaks for itself. That knockout was, it was heard around the world. It was super impressive. We didn't really know who Ngannou was at that point. He was still an up-and-coming guy, but this solidified him as the scariest heavyweight knockout artist of all time in the UFC.
Put him on the map.
Put him on the map. And he put Overeem on the mat.
Nice.
See what I did there? Crazy short left hook, kind of, / uppercut. Overeem was kind of bobbing and weaving, got clipped, and it was just ridiculously scary to watch as well. Yeah, Francis Ngannou kind of had to be on here. Scariest motherfucker in the UFC. Next up, and finally, number 1. Now, this might not be the flashiest knockout of all time. This might not be the most insane knockout of all time, but when this happened, it was just different. Something changed in the UFC when this happened. It was quite possibly the biggest moment in UFC history ever. And this is Conor McGregor knocking out Jose Aldo to win the featherweight title in 16 seconds. The quickest ever title fight knockout finish. First of all, Conor McGregor, the build-up to this fight had been 2 years long. It had been cancelled once. McGregor had to go and knock out Chad Mendes. Comes in against the undefeated in, 16 years, Jose Aldo, on like a 14-fight win streak, 14 title defenses, some crazy number through UFC and WEC. McGregor just comes in, slip left hand, out cold, couple of hammer fists. The game has changed forever. And that's my list.
I like that list.
That's my list.
Once again, no similarities.
We've got none of them.
None of them.
Holy shit.
Yeah, there was a couple there that I had completely forgotten about. Somehow I'd forgotten about Masvidal versus Askren. So I'll put that down as an honorable mention.
All right.
But a lot of mine have been since I started watching MMA, so a fairly shorter tenure than you. And also kind of just more momentous knockouts for people's careers, I guess you could say. So what I've got at number 5, which isn't anything to do with what I just said, but Joaquin Buckley versus Impa Kasangane. I'm not going to try and say that name again. But Joaquin Buckley hasn't yet kind of solidified himself as a real challenger or a potential contender. As of yet, he has kind of just moved weight divisions. But this knockout I'm talking about was mid-round 2. He throws a rear body kick. Impa catches his leg, and Joaquin bounces up off of the one leg that he does still have, and spins around and just knocks him into oblivion. Like, connects perfectly with the chin, and this guy kind of paused in, like, just couldn't move and just dropped to the ground. It was a very impressive kick. It's kind of one of those things that you'd see in a movie, let alone like in an actual competitive MMA event. So that was a massive knockout in my eyes. Number 4, I've got Izzy knocking out Alex Pereira in their second fight in MMA, so their 4th fight overall. This was a huge moment. Izzy was obviously playing a little bit of chicken, and his leg was hurt early on in the fight, which is something that Alex used in the first fight to get his TKO finish. And so Izzy's up against the fence. We all thought he was hurt. We all thought this was going to be a repeat of the first fight. And all of a sudden, he just pulls out this incredible combination and clonks Alex over the top of the head. Alex crumbles to the ground, and that spectacular celebration of the 3 arrows was just a hell of a way to finish it off. So that is what I've got down as number 4. Number 3, I kind of tossed up putting this as number 4, but then I don't know. This one was a bit more exciting, I think, for me. Justin Gaethje knocking out Dustin Poirier for the BMF title. We've seen lots of head kick knockouts in the UFC. It wasn't so special in the fact that it was something crazy we've never seen before. But watching Dustin Poirier get knocked out was just such a shock to the system, especially what happened in their first fight, which happened many years beforehand. But also the fact Justin Gaethje throwing a head kick was just so out of the question. He's just known for chopping at people's legs, and next thing he knows, he's throwing this thing right towards Dustin's skull. Even though Dustin had his guard up, it just managed to chop straight through and dropped him instantly. So that is what I have down as number 3. Now, this one is not a fight that I saw live and at number 2, but it's one that I have watched back since just because of how crazy and brutal it was. So I'm talking about Dan Henderson knocking out Michael Bisping. Just a crazy right hand connects straight into the side of Michael Bisping's temple. And then the follow-up with the forearm / elbow, I don't know what you want to call it, was devastating. It's one of those knockouts that is just so hard to watch. And Michael Bisping obviously losing his eye from that exchange. So I'm pretty sure. Well, I'll just put that out there. It probably didn't help. Now, number 1, Leon Edwards knocking out Kamaru Usman to win the welterweight championship. Usman has been put up there as possibly one of the greatest welterweights ever up until these couple of fights with Leon Edwards of late. And then just dominating for about 3.5 rounds, almost 4 rounds by this stage. So late in the 5th, with a minute left, everyone's counted out Leon apart from his corner and obviously himself. And he just throws this crazy jab, right hand, and then just straight in with the head kick. It was like Usman dips down to the side, and just that in slow motion is crazy. And that was felt around the world. I was shocked watching that. I could not believe what happened for a number of days. But yeah, that is what I have at number 1.
Nice list.
Thanks, man.
Nice list. I like that. There's a few on there that I was like, oh shit, yeah, maybe I should put that on. Like the Leon one.
Mm.
That's pretty big. The Izzy one as well. Those two, I was like, yeah. After hearing those, I was like, yeah, maybe I was a bit more nostalgic than you. I think I was thinking like the old, you know.
I find it hard to be nostalgic.
Well,
when-
that is nostalgic for you. Yeah. But anyway, guys, that's our top 5. Top 5 knockouts. Please leave your list down below, Mark. Thank you very much for being the only man who does so. Really appreciate that, and I like your list. You've got some very good takes. So anyway, guys, we've been Combat Corner. Please check out our long form podcasts. That's, you know, the main reason we do this stuff.
And definitely don't fact check my information.
Don't fact check Jackson because he's always wrong. All right, see you guys later.
Bye.